All right, we're live. So, discussion 2 is what perspective or approach to leadership made the most sense to me or you. The perspective that made the most sense to me was the situational approach. That let's see. This approach argues that skills, traits, and behaviors necessary for effective leadership vary from situation to situation, and I just felt that was 100% true.
Completely agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the one that.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Continue. Sorry.
I was saying, yeah. So that's the one that made most sense to you guys too.
So for me, the functional approach made the most sense to me. That's because I've been involved in a few situations where you somebody involved had to use basically we viewed them as a leader because of the way they communicated. There was one situation for my job. I work in global security, and there was a shooting close by to one of our campuses. And this was the first time that a lot of us have been involved in responding to it because we had so many buildings to keep in mind on as far as safety goes with employees. And one of our top bosses came into the room that we are all meeting in to discuss how we were going to respond. And I guess you could say none of us were responding the way that he wanted to, but the way that he responded kind of showed me that communication is really the key. So he started assigning us all tasks, like you make phone calls regarding this, you get in contact with the police department about this, you take phone calls from employees, some of along those lines. And I felt that that's why I viewed him as a leader, just because he knew how to respond in that situation and he kind of started getting everybody together. I feel like that's what that's all about. Leadership is all about, is getting everybody together, assigning them different tasks, and we're all there for one goal, but you got to get everybody together in order to achieve it.
What about you, Alex?
Kind of agree. I kind of think that like both. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards more situational because I feel like everything is case to case and different for every person. With leadership styles, people respond to different leadership styles.
Okay. That's what I say. Let's see. I guess I already said, yeah, like I've just had like a lot of. I've had like a lot of different jobs, and like every job I feel like has just needed a different style of leadership, and like I know like some of my bosses could never lead the way that other bosses did.
What'd you guys think of path goal theory? I think that's something that's pretty. I feel like that was pretty that resonated with me because it's about your followers being motivated to produce when they believe that they're working towards a goal. I feel like that's super. I guess you could. It's very common in the workplace because it can go a couple different ways. They either are about the team and they want to complete the task, or their goal is to become a leader or a manager or get promoted, and that's why they want to achieve the goal. What do you guys think? Have you guys had that at your jobs?
Yeah, where people, especially like I don't know, at my job. Well, I'm leaving. Like this is my last week at my job. I'm starting a different job, because like at my job, they always do this thing where they'll be like, "You are gonna be a manager. You're gonna get this position. That way, the people will work harder." But like I've seen so many people at my work who come and say, and they hired me so that way I could become a manager or become this or that, and no one ever advances the level that they're at. And I'm like, you'll never advance. You're gonna stay exactly where you are. It's just a promise they give you. That way you'll work harder. That way you'll stay here.
I've had pretty much the exact same experience. I worked at like a Foot Locker store in high school, and so the managers would hire everyone. They'd tell everyone that they were gonna be promoted to assistant manager, and like it just never happened. It happened to me. It happened to a couple other employees that told me it happened to them too. And they even went as far as like show people training manuals. I think it was more to just get people to do extra hours because no one really wanted to work. So I kind of worked at a bad mall, but.
Yeah, but then you have the places, you know, that give you bonuses, like, and it just makes you want to show up. Like if they're like, my new job, if I punch in 10 minutes early every day, I get a bonus at the end of the week. And I was like, you're joking, right? Like, and it's just stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'll show up 10 minutes early every day for a bonus. And then that definitely makes people want to show up, work hard, because you know you're getting a reward.
Yeah.
But let's see. But yeah, I think it's really important for like the leaders to motivate the employees, but in like an honest way. And like me and Alex have both experienced dishonesty, but then I've also experienced like honesty, you know, and honest, like in most positions, I think bonuses are one of the best ways to motivate people. One of my bosses used to like do raffles. Just 1 second. This. All right. Let me try to invite. I invited Louis, but apparently he didn't get the invite, so I'll try again. But what do you think is the best way to like motivate an employee as a leader or a follower as a leader?
You said what motivates?
Yeah, how would you motivate a follower?
For me, I mean, I have employees. I have employees that report to me at my current job. I think the biggest thing that motivates them is giving them opportunities outside of what they do on a daily basis. So someone that wants to get into a leadership role or a managerial role, I would just basically, you know, not everything about the job is going to be the best. Like they're not going to enjoy everything that they do, but if you keep them motivated and have constant conversations with them and find out what their goals are, I think that they'll be more willing to produce for you. And I think that they want to see results as well, like see that their hard work is paying off. So that's recognition, I think is the biggest key. And then you know, just showing them that what the opportunities are like, and giving them the opportunity to achieve what they're working towards.
Okay. Sorry, I sent you an invitation a couple times. I don't know why you didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're talking
I don't
about
know why I didn't get it. It's fine. No problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. We're talking about the leadership. What leadership perspective or approach made most sense to us? What made most sense to you?
The leadership approach. To me, I think the first three, the traits, the situational, and the functional approach made sense to me. But the one that I can relate myself more to with is the relation approach, relationship leadership style approach, I guess. But going back to the traits approach, let me just pull up my page here. I wrote some notes. So I think all terms of aspects of traits is important, of having abilities, the control, personality, the motivation. Definitely mostly the motivation for sure. If you want to be a good leader and you want to influence people and want people to follow you, for sure, a lot of motivation is needed. Another one, I would say the social appraisal. There's a little highlighted little part here, a little quote says, leaders who can identify, use, understand, and manage emotions are generally more successful. You know, if you know how to deal with the situation, maybe a situation in which a client or a customer is mad in a way and you can't control it. You being as a leader, you need to know the steps in controlling the situation, knowing how to communicate with the customer, or let's say a team member, and so that doesn't escalate in a way that for sure you don't want to. So that's to me, that's what I think.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I agree. It's important to like be able to not make situations escalate. Does anyone have anything else to add?
What do you guys, just a quick question, what do you think of, do you think a relationship-oriented, not a relationship, relation approach to leadership is the right way, or the future kind of leadership? Because I'm bringing this question to mind because I have heard a lot of people saying, you know, nowadays you find leaders that are more relationship oriented to their teams instead of being mostly task oriented.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's especially now, I would say, with how like tech companies are going and a lot of these new companies are emerging. I think a lot of the leaders are younger, and so that means like a lot in our generation. So I think that a lot of us have seen the old school way of managing. I feel like kind of fading away. I think it's more relationships and caring for your people. And for me, the people that report to me, I try to make it it's almost a friendship, but there's like a line, obviously, like there's a line, but we're also like able to enjoy each other, have fun. But I think the old school way of just being straight up task oriented, I feel like that's buried. I don't really think that that's really gonna be I don't think that's going to be how you manage in the future. I think it's already fading away now.
Yeah, I see the like you said, the task-oriented leadership is kind of old school for sure, and you know, the new school is being more relationship-oriented, and you know, being more relationship, you know, that kind of brings people together, and you know, people are kind of self-motivated in that way as well, knowing that, hey, my boss is, you know, he's cool, he helps me out, he talks to me correctly, you know, that he builds a relationship, like, you know, after work, let's hang out and let's go have a drink, let's go have lunch or something like that. That's kind of what I see today happening compared to what I used to hear from back in the day, which was more task oriented.
Yeah,
for sure, the future definitely holds a lot of relationship oriented leaders for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, I also agree that that's with Michael, like that's exactly what's happening right now, and will continue to happen. All right, so the time's up for this one. If you guys have any last things you want to say.
I think I'm all good. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, I'll turn the links in with all our names on them. That way she gives us all credit for us.
Thanks, Amy.
Oh, thank you, Amy.
Yeah, and I'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
And if anyone needs to change time or anything, just write on the post. We'll figure it out.
Sounds good. Thanks.